My name is Ken Friedman. I'm University Distinguished Professor at Swinburne University of Technology in Melbourne, Australia. I work at the Center for Design Innovation. I'm also Chair Professor of Design Innovation Studies at Tongji University in Shanghai, China. I'm here to share a few thoughts with you about strategic design research at the Center for Design Innovation. What is strategic design? Strategic design is the use of a planned and systematic yet creative design process to solve problems in business, industry, and public service. Don't we all try to solve problems? Yes, absolutely. Human beings attempt to solve problems. It's one of our defining qualities. The key to strategic design is a systematic yet creative way to do this. The key is a process of finding problems, making sense of complexities, framing and reframing concepts, creating generative metaphors, seeking appropriate context. Now we need the other one. Then we actually have to go back to that one after I finish the list. Okay. Wait, let me start again. Let's start with, wait, let me just see how we are now. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Let's start again. So after I say seek appropriate context, then I need this bottom part. Then I'll go back. Let me just see what's next on this sheet. Okay. Yeah. Then okay. So yeah, just hold it like that, and
So I hold it like this.
and after I say design science event flow, then you can drop this sheet so I can use the rest of that sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
Science event flow.
Okay. Don't we all try to solve problems? Yes, absolutely. Solving problems, trying to solve problems, is one of the things that defines us as human beings, one of the things that makes us human. The key to strategic design is a systematic yet creative way to do this, a systematic yet creative way to solve problems. This involves a number of steps put together in different orders and different ways. When we employ the process, we find problems. We make sense of complexity. We frame and reframe concepts. We generate metaphors. We seek appropriate context. We use systems perspectives. We engage in productive conversations. We enroll stakeholders. We iterate and test what we're developing and trialing with real human beings. We play with the way we represent ideas. We use different techniques and combinatorial techniques in different orders and structures to try out different solutions. We use critical thinking. We engage in self-criticism. We collaborate together in design teams. We communicate. We educate. We create executable specifications. We demonstrate by making things work. Strategic design, you can say, has several names: design-led innovation, integrative thinking, design integration, frame creation, interaction method, design science event flow. These are all different ways to practice strategic design, to use design as a strategic tool in public service, in the private sector, in business and industry, in the classroom, on the factory floor, to make life better for people and to help people make life better for each other. What makes the design approach special? Well, you can say, in a certain sense, as Nigel Cross, one of our great thinkers, did say, he said, look, there are several ways of knowing things and doing things that typify different approaches. There's the scientific method, there's the interpretive humanities, and then he says there's designerly ways of knowing. There's ways that skilled designers work to make things work better. Typically, science involves finding out facts, finding out what is so, testing things to see if things are so. The humanities and interpretation find ways to look at what we feel and how we tell each other the stories that give meaning to life. Design occupies an interesting gray area because it's not about what exists in the way that science is. It's not only about how we feel, but it's finding ways to work with what exists, to reshape it so that it suits our needs and our feelings, and project these into a future that doesn't exist, to say, what if, and to create the whats that fill out the what if. You can say strategic design research is a form of engaged research where we're working in a context with people who have real problems, legitimate stakeholders. The problem may be big, it may be small. I've often thought, for example, that in terms of the amount of hours saved for human beings, the greatest time-saving invention of the 20th century was simply the queue, where you have one feeder line for everybody, and then the first open window is where you send the next customer. When I was a kid, you'd go to the post office or the bank, and there would be 5 lines and 5 windows. And it didn't matter what line you got into, it was always the slowest line. Now, it seemed like it. One day I heard a mathematician give a presentation, and he explained scientifically why I would always be in the slowest line. Well, fortunately, another mathematician who worked as a designer solved my problem. He said, look, let's get everybody in one line, and then whenever a window's open, you just step up to it. Fabulous design solution, simple, low-tech, and yet one of the great inventions of the 20th century. Well, what I'd like to think is that by developing good solutions for problems, large and small, we can help people to do better at whatever business they're in. Now, of course, sometimes you're talking about things with massive businesses. Google, the search engine business, obviously a massive company, massive organization, global implications. Microsoft, Apple Computer. The truth is, most of the world's companies have fewer than 10 people. Now, obviously, in Australia, everybody knows that's the case. There's some big organizations, but most Australian firms, fewer than 10 people. Certainly the case in Scandinavia. Norway, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, small companies. Our ability to generate better problem-solving processes that people can learn and put to work in those small companies, just as much as in the great companies and the big companies, that can define the future world we live in. And at least for me, one of the great opportunities of the Center for Design Innovation one of the great opportunities for strategic design research is to be looking at different ways to work to do that. Public service design is a crucial new area for well-being. Okay,
Somebody agreed.
while we're thinking about that, we've got to, at the very end, we've got to hold up the last page from the other one, because I'm going to tell people again how they can find me. Okay, so
That's
Nope.
6 to 7.
was here a second ago.
Yeah. So it's page 7, right?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
Okay. Okay, ready to go back?